You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cricket Podcast. We just did some messages. If you've been listening to the podcast, we're not going to bore you. But if this is your entry point to the show, which sometimes it is on YouTube, you need to know that you need to click like and subscribe. We're on the road to 11K. It's been a little bit of a tough road. We derailed ourselves at some point, but we want to get up to 11K pretty soon. So help us out there. We're talking England v South Africa. Third test. It's 1-1 heading to the Oval. We did a big wrap-up show about a week ago talking about the second test, how Dean Elgar got it wrong. South Africa believed their own hype. What do we think is going to happen, and where do we want to start in terms of our analysis of this test that is coming up? Max?
Should we start with the big news that...
the breaking news?
The breaking news that Johnny Bairstow, on his way to tap in a victorious birdie on the 18th tee, was viciously tackled by all of his teammates in a bun fight for a 10K prize, and had his leg snapped in half, and half of Bazball is now unavailable for England.
I heard he was attacked by Harry Brook, allegedly, with a putter.
He actually left a banana skin in front of him.
I like this. Instead of showing any sort of contritions and sadness, empathy for the guy who has broken his leg during the greatest season of his career, leading up to a T20 World Cup and a tour of Pakistan, where he would have been a pivotal player. Instead of showing any sympathy for that, no. What you want to address is the WhatsApp rumor that we received via voice note from a voice, and I'm just going to say it isn't my field of expertise, but from a voice which did sound remarkably similar to the man who said that they were going to fill Wembley Stadium.
It did sound a lot like that, didn't it? It was a very similar voice. It's nice that he follows both sports. Yeah. So okay. Well, yeah. Look, there are different ways of shooting at these issues, aren't there? We've gone down that route.
He did have to address it, didn't he? He addressed it on Instagram.
So did he actually?
Yeah.
This was a rumor, wasn't it? It went round that instead of the actual story, what really happened, that Bairstow slipped on his way to a tee box, landed awkwardly or twisted his ankle, and has suffered a suspected broken leg. Instead, what happened is that the England boys were down a golf course, and in the WhatsApp chat, in the WhatsApp voice note, they actually say the wrong golf course. They're not even.
They're a place called Ganton. I've never been to Ganton.
It sounds like Butlins, but knockoff, doesn't it?
It was 10K on the line. They got down to the last bit.
Yeah, this was alleged. They were playing for £10,000. Bairstow was going to tap it in, and Stokes, as a joke, took him out. Obviously, that didn't happen. He fell over according to the BBC, has suffered a likely broken leg. But Ross, as you said, he did have to address the WhatsApp rumour that he was out. And let's talk about what that means for England.
He's not going to be fast between the wickets, is he?
Jesus Christ.
But the thing is, Ross, what England will be missing is someone fast between the wickets, to keep the pressure on.
It's a big loss, isn't it? It's a massive loss for England.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's a big loss for cricket as well. Bairstow, what he's done over the summer has been nothing short of miraculous. Like a guy who, you look at his whole career, look at his career as a whole. You look at that line and you think he is lucky with those numbers to have played the number of tests he has played. I don't think we would doubt that he is a test quality player, but he's definitely not dominated the game. And then this summer has played like one of the all-time greats.
We were lauding Joe Root last year for his season, and it's that level, right?
Mm-hmm. It's that level, but it's also like in a way that nobody has ever, or nobody's really been able to replicate.
Yeah. No one's even tried it.
Yes, and that series against New Zealand where he scored a bazillion runs at a strike rate of like 120 or something like that, is madness, and that has been terminated. What are there? 4 tests left in the year for England. 4 tests short of sort of completion. And he's had it. I mean, even go back to Australia, he was good. He was one of the good players that England had in Australia. Then you throw in the T20 World Cup. It's going to be maybe not the last dance for this England white ball side, but certainly, well, I mean, it might be even beyond the last dance. Morgan's gone and Roy looks like he's on his way out, but it might be the end of the bit where England were automatically one of the contenders. They might go into a period of transition now where they're not. And Bairstow would have been front and center in that. He'd literally just been, I don't know if you get promoted to that. People say it's a promotion. He'd literally just been announced as like the opener for that, a role he's been brilliant at in the IPL. And it's all cut down, which is a huge shame, I think.
Yeah, that would have struck fear into the England opponents, right? Like Bairstow has proven time and time again in the shortest format, and in every format, that he can take anybody apart. And England losing that it cannot be underestimated. However, Jack, it does give a chance for a future star potentially. So Harry Brook has been he's been the next boy off the rank. Everyone's been going, this guy is absolutely gravy. But it's great that we're going to get to see him against what is one of the best bowling lineups in the world. Max, how do you think he's going to fare against the pace of Norkia? Because even Bairstow had been struggling against that this summer.
Yeah, that'll be a test. I mean, that's a test for the entire England side who've been doing it for the last couple of weeks or last month or so. So it will be certainly quite different to anything he was, swatting aside in the county championship for the first half of the summer. But Jack's got his hand up.
He did score 100 against the exact bowling attack he's about to go and play.
In the warm-up game?
Yeah. So, if it was a 4-match test series, he's already got a ton. He averages 100.
That's a lot of confidence to have.
Series is 2-1.
Hey, that's not even a list A game, mate. It's friendly. That doesn't count.
No, that's a good thing to be coming off the back of. But I mean, that's slightly different, isn't it, to the nerves of going and making your debut for England and all the rest of it. But it is, as you say, really nice to see him get a chance. It's obviously terrible for Johnny Bairstow, but how often have we seen guys, called up to the England squad for the experience of being there, and then all they do is just sit around and not play in the team that they're supposed to be playing in for the 100, or not play in whatever other competition for their county when they could be actually playing cricket, and really they're just carrying drinks around. So it'd be nice that he gets to play. The Liam Dawson role. Yeah, exactly.
The Nearly man.
Who Ben Duckett will be moonlighting as in the third.
But that's fine. He's well practiced at the moonlighting role.
I think Duckett will come into the 50 over team in the nearish future, and I think England are will get him around the test team to kind of. I think that's why they're doing that. I don't know. I would be a little bit surprised if Duckett ever played Test cricket for England again.
It would be it'd be quite a reversal, wouldn't it?
Hasn't he got quite a decent record against spin? So it might be a case of looking at someone for Pakistan and seeing what he's like around the group and things like that, and being able to take someone in the middle order there.
Maybe we're going that route. Might as well open with Keaton Jennings again.
Yeah, well, Keaton Jennings will be on the plane, 100%.
We've got time today.
Keaton Jennings will be on the plane to Pakistan.
We've digressed slightly here, so I
want to talk more about Keaton Jennings.
we can. England are going to line up with everyone the same as the last test, minus Bairstow for Brook, aren't they? We're all excited to see Brook, I assume, because he's averaging 100 this year, and it's all done quite quickly, and he's definitely an exciting player. Faf compared him to AB de Villiers, didn't he? After one match of the 100 this year, which is pretty high praise. I'm not going there, but Faf did. So
if it's good enough for Faf, it's good enough for me.
Who do you trust more? Because this is what it comes down to. Do you trust Jack Hope more or Faf du Plessis more? Because one of them thinks
Jack Hope, who by his own admission doesn't really watch county cricket.
No,
or Faf du Plessis.
We have to, I mean, now you say that. So AB de Villiers is coming into the England side. It's about a 5. Will he keep Bairstow out in the long term? That's what we're looking for. I actually think the career trajectory of Brook could be quite interesting from this point, because if it is a broken leg, we probably assumed that Bairstow won't play until maybe the IPL next year.
Yeah, next year, definitely next year.
If it's in quotes a good break. What that means is that there's 3 tests against Pakistan that are up for grabs. A couple of tests in the spring. January is not really spring, is it? Later. There's some more tests happening, and then there's an Ashes summer. If Brook gets some runs, he's got the opportunity to put pressure on Pope, pressure on Crawley. I wouldn't be stunned at all if he ended up opening the batting. If he got a few,
Can you hold it back?
Would anyone be stunned? Would anyone be stunned?
Let's be honest.
They were like, let's just get him in the team. Potentially pressure on Folkes if he can't score, because I think England might look to shift the gloves to Bairstow if he does come in back next summer. Could be the start of a magical thing for AB de Villiers. I don't know how we got to this point. South Africa, are they going to make a change? They're definitely going to get rid of Van der Dussen, aren't they? Markram.
Yeah.
I was going to call him Mark Adram.
Is that might explain it, Jack? That might explain it. Aidan Markram scored the first 1,000 runs of Aidan Markram's Test career, and Mark Adram scored the next 1,000, but
we're asking some pretty big questions today, fellas. Pretty big questions.
Yeah. This is as good as it gets. Are they going to be? So Markram's going to not play, which probably opens up the spot. Not fucking Markram. What am I talking about?
Van der Dussen.
Van der Dussen is definitely not going to play. That opens up the spot for Ryan Rickleton, who's almost certainly going to play. You would think.
Well, you'd hope so.
Well, they've brought in Ryan Mulder, haven't they?
Yeah. So this is they've got Mulder in, and is it Zondo who's on the bench as well? Will they make the additional change and ditch Markram? Do you think that was the question? Are they going to get rid of Markram? I could have just said that.
Yeah.
Is it him? Because Rickleton also is a keeper, isn't it? So is Verinen actually in a bit of risk? Is that you say it? I've called him Verinen for this.
I think Carl Verena's done all right. I think he's kept reasonably well, and he's been decent with the bat. I think dropping him would be a little harsh, but I could see them changing Markram. But the thing is, when they're already making that change, I think I said it in the last one. I think if Van der Dussen weren't injured, they might have brought in Rickleton for Markram anyway. But because Van der Dussen's changing, they already have to do it. I wonder whether they might go for, I say the safe option, because the perception of safety is in the status quo. But you know what I mean. Yeah.
No. I was talking to a couple of guys. Tim and Poe on their podcast at lunchtime today, and they both wanted Markram to be dropped, but I don't think we're particularly confident that he would be. I think South Africa have a bit of a thing about experience, and even if the experience is that you're not very good, they seem to prioritise that. So I can't see much change there. The one that they thought would happen was Simon Harmer out for Marco Jansen, and I cannot see any world in which that doesn't happen.
Well, I think it's supposed to piss it down all week as well. So
is it? Well, yeah. So it's that's going to happen. There's going to be some rain. Should we just do some predictions?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ross, you can start with your thoughts on what happened in the match.
I think England are going to roll them over. Now, I think the confidence is back with England. I think both of these lineups, as we said in the preview, have got a bit of a frailty, but Oval's a pretty good place to bat, and I think England are a better batting side slightly than them, and I think they'll have enough about them to beat them.
I'm tempted to agree with that. I think there is genuinely the potential for a draw. The Oval. So there's a few things with the Oval that are a little bit different to Lords and Old Trafford. Like, one, you tend not to get really difficult batting decks on day one at the Oval. It tends to be quite flat early on, and then it gets a bit abrasive, and you can get the ball to sort of reverse a bit later in the match, and it sometimes spin comes into it, and that it's the India last year on the final day. Jadeja came into the game, Bumrah got it to reverse, they blew England away. That is a little bit more the formula for winning, with maybe pace and bounce earlier on. See Jamie Overton as Exhibit A this year in the county championship. I think that means the draw might be more in the game, because I don't know if the spin and abrasive reverse swing element of that will happen, because it might be a bit greener.
Yeah.
And we might lose 4 sessions. That probably means it won't spin as much. It probably means it will be harder to get the ball to reverse. And then you might just end up with a flat deck. And because you don't have the situation where like what you get at Lords, where the pitch is basically it's almost impossible to bat on the first day at Lords because they start it so green because the drainage is too good. Make of that what you will. The game's not accelerated. Ross, you look like you're going to make an interjection.
Yeah, I just think this lineup the bowling lineup for South Africa can cause some serious problems. I think Janssen coming in, it was probably one of the harshest droppings of all time, where Janssen being dropped after 60 odd or whatever it was, to a couple of wickets.
That was about 45. But took 4 wickets.
I thought he had 50. But anyway, I think him coming into the lineup gives them that extra dimension. And Geedy's been good, but Rabada has been better. And then Nortje's pace, I think, can be the difference maker. So if you are going to get that reverse swing, Rabada and Nortje are the ones who are likely to get it. So, I think it'd be a tasty proposition.
Max, you wanted England to win. You think England are going to win?
I think England will just shade it, yeah. I think I reckon there could be a sort of lowish scoring start again, even with the Oval being like it is, like 250 plays 220, that sort of kind of thing. But I think England will make it through in the end. We'll probably see Nortje do some damage to England's batting lineup in one innings, and then be a little more wayward in the other, and allow England to take it. That's my feeling, but.
We do have the Oval maestro, don't we, in Ollie Pope?
We do.
Man has hit more runs there than anyone else in those two lineups. So, maybe a double ton for him.
All right, lads, should we take another quick break and then we'll come back and talk about the 100?
Let's do it.
Cool.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.